Hello, it's the middle of January, so-called Blue Monday. So I thought that might be a really helpful time to start thinking about how you can make your career change happen this year. When I did some research into the major factors that hold people up when they're thinking about changing direction, I found that number one in the survey came out as self-belief or confidence. In other words, the belief, number one, that change is possible, and number two, that as an individual, you have the ability to make it happen, and that you have what employers want, perhaps in a new sector. So I thought, well, let's put together what I know, what I discovered from my own career changes. I've made three particularly large career shifts in my life so far, and learning from those, I could immediately think of 7 ways in which it would be possible to strengthen the belief that change is possible. So that's why I've written a new article, which you'll find on my blog at freestylecareers.com, to help you really boost your belief in yourself and what you have to offer in a range of other spaces, and also that change is possible at all. So let's jump right in. Number one, believing that you can make change happen. Now, I don't think I know a single person that hasn't at some point made some kind of changes in their lives. It could be something very small, like a change of hairstyle, going on holiday to a new country, just going somewhere different at the weekend, or meeting new people. It could be something slightly larger when you've left a job and achieved the opportunity with a new organisation, so you've moved careers already, or shifted jobs. It may not be that you've changed direction. So think back to times when you have made changes, whether they're small, whether they're big. You have at some point made change happen, and this is no different. You are using exactly the same kind of mindsets and techniques, if you like, or strategies to make change happen. You will do some research, you will gather some facts, you will measure them against you and how you fit that opportunity, and you'll proceed. You'll go ahead. You'll check it against whether you want to do that or not. So yes, the fact that you've made change happen in the past is a really important element, and it means you can make change happen again. So number one, very simple. Number two relates to how far you believe you have something that somebody else is going to pay you for, whether it is somebody in a new sector that you're interested in moving into, or someone who might be a client if you're thinking about setting up your own business, for example. So this again is so easy to boost if you think back to previous experiences. What are you most proud of? What are your major achievements in the past? And what can you learn from those? Because when you look back at those things, the things that you are proudest of, you can recognize that people around you would have seen real strengths in you, would have seen reasons why you succeeded at that particular time. So I think, again, thinking back to times when you achieved certain things and knowing that you've done it once and you can do it again, even if it's in a new sector, is definitely worth doing. So 2 things. Number 3 is probably the one that holds people up most, and that undermines them actually, because this is more about fears, sometimes unspoken fears, and especially fears in the middle of the night when you wake up and all you can think about is all the things that can go wrong. But what I want to ask you to do is to try and separate irrational fears from fears that are grounded in reality. So those fears, the fears of will you be able to earn money, will you be able to actually find a job, and how will you do that in your new area, those are very different from the irrational fears that are the ones that block you from taking any action, because they're not founded in anything at all. They're founded in something intangible, and they really make you feel uneasy and lacking in confidence. But they're not real. They are not real. The fears that are based on real things, real practical things, and real practical steps you can take to actually counter them are a healthy part of the career change process. And that is definitely something that I work on with my clients. So try and notice what fears you have, and are they based on reality, or are they just something intangible about, you can imagine everything going wrong, but actually, unless you actually think about that properly and think it through, reason it through, and come up with steps and strategies to actually manage possible outcomes, then that's a very different situation from just feeling generally that everything is going to go wrong. So be aware of what kind of fears you have around you and do something about how you can tackle one or the other. Number 4 is the antithesis of that, and that means getting in touch with your most powerful self or your most successful self. The you that is the one who achieved the things we talked about before. The you who is in flow, is managing their time well, is achieving good results in any aspect of your life, actually. And one of the things that I do with clients that I'm working on their career change with is to strengthen that powerful self. So really getting a very clear idea of what that powerful self is. And this is stuff that is in you already. So it's just making contact with that power again. I definitely believe that we all have a more powerful self than the one that we call on every day. And it's actually identifying that and drawing on that and then believing in that more. So powerful self is a really important aspect of this, and it's the self that I want my clients to bring to work on their career change, the one that really can see possibilities. So another aspect of boosting your self-belief, if you like, is to get used to being uncomfortable. There is no doubt at all, whatever anybody might tell you, that career change is difficult, it can take a long time, and it is going to challenge you. So knowing that at some point in that career change, you are going to have to get uncomfortable, whether it is just in reaching out to somebody to find out more about that particular area that you're interested in exploring, or whether it's actually going for an interview. Now that's always uncomfortable for most people. So how can you actually strengthen that ability to feel uncomfortable? I think my advice would be to just do something every day that stretches that tolerance for being uncomfortable. Simple things like taking a different way to work, wearing different kind of clothes, or trying different kinds of food. Very simple things that really aren't that threatening, but which are stretching your comfort zone just a little. I think other things, as you get more used to doing those small things, add in larger ones as well. So try a new activity, make new friends. Just try different things and stretch that ability to get uncomfortable and extend that comfort zone so that you know it's all right, that you can actually encompass that new space. So I think the final two are really important. The first one is going to be the fuel that drives you to completion. That is going to make sure that you actually succeed in making that career change. And that is understanding why it matters to you, your why. So if you've read any Simon Sinek and his book, Finding Your Why, you will know what I'm talking about. Your why takes on two aspects. One of them is values and one of them is purpose. So if you know your highest values, you will know why it is you want to change from, for example, being in a work situation where you're micromanaged to a new work situation where you have autonomy. And if that resonates with you, then it probably means that either freedom or autonomy is one of your highest values. And conversely, when you're unhappy at work, it's usually because one of your most significant values is being trampled on. And that can sometimes happen as a result of changes in your life. I actually work with a lot of people who have had a career change after they've had a family, and they find that their professional life doesn't fit them anymore. So what they need to do is to go back to basics, to look at the values that are most important to them at the moment. And one of those might be more flexibility. One of them might be family. And they may not have been most significant when you were choosing that career, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So yes, values, hugely important. And the other aspect of why you want to make a career change is meaning. So what kind of impact do you want to have in the world? What contribution do you want to make? And again, that could be very different from when you started out on your career, however many years ago it was. So I think really get clear about why and why this is important to you, and you will find that that is going to be the fuel that drives you on to success. So finally, number 7, and this is a way both of re-energizing yourself in your life or in your career change, but also in maybe discovering things that you want within your new career. And this is to find out what you love doing and doing more of it. So I call this dancing in my sunny spots. And it makes me smile just to say that, because for me, that might mean going for a walk in the great outdoors, in nature. It might mean designing something, drawing something. It could be all kinds of things. Whatever it is that you love doing, get very clear about those and do more of them. Because it will energize you, it will make you feel happier and more likely to want to actually work on your career change. But also, I think it could have some really important clues as to where you might want to go in the future as far as your career is concerned. So those are the 7 ways that I came up with on how you can boost your self-belief. And to know that change is possible. I know it's possible because I've done it for myself, but more recently I've had the joy of working with other people who want to change direction and seeing how they have been able to get very clear about what it is that they really want to do now at this point in their life, and how that's going to build for them a better working life that actually helps them feel fulfilled. So one thing I'd say is, why don't you take a look at the article I've read about this, because it explores it in a little more detail, and maybe decide on 1 or 2 of those things that most resonate with you, that you think would help you strengthen that self-belief that change can actually happen. And then if you feel this year is going to be the right time for you to do something about it, why not also have a look at my Quickstep career change program? This is such a clear and systematic program. It really does work. And clients I know have really benefited from having 3 clear steps, from getting clear about what matters most to them and what they have to offer in different areas, to getting clear about the direction, really exploring aspects they haven't thought of before, options they hadn't considered, and then measuring those 2 things against each other so that it's possible to find one idea that has legs, that can really fulfill you, but also has a chance of success. And when that one thing is clear, we then build a very simple, if you like, simple steps forward that take into account the realities that you're facing, what you actually need to live on and to feel fulfilled, and then looking at the actual challenges that you will have to overcome to make that happen. So I think building that bridge from reality to a new and more fulfilling career is the final element of the programme. So by all means, go and have a look at that on my website, freestylecareers.com. I hope this has been helpful in actually encouraging you to see that self-belief is something you can nurture, something you can build. It isn't something you're born with, and there are certain things you can do to take control of that and to actually strengthen that belief that change is possible. So I hope, if nothing else, it's given you a fresh pair of eyes to look at that as a possibility. So do let me know in the comments below anything that's on your mind and anything I can help with, and I wish you real success this year in making change happen.